Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about America's golden path to a bright future. All right. So right now, America is in an incredibly dark present. All right, and that is thanks to Vladimir Putin. So first of all, I want to talk. I want to just send my thoughts out to the Ukrainian people. So they are under severe distress right now, thanks to Vladimir Putin. They're living in a darker present than even America. Okay, so Ukraine has problems, right? But you shouldn't listen to me to tell you the problems that Ukrainians have. Ukrainians are saying it right. You should listen to American Ukrainians. I am not one of those. And you should listen to Ukrainians, and you can find them all over the YouTubes telling the plight, and you should listen to them, right? And they can tell you their woes. But I'm going to tell you the American woes that happened on February 22nd, on February 23rd, all right? So America was massively impacted by Vladimir Putin's actions. He stole something from us, something incredibly valuable that we may never get back, right? Now, what did Vladimir Putin steal from America? Well, he stole Maslow's pinnacle, all right? On February 22nd, 2022, all America cared about was art. We were at the very pinnacle of Maslow's hierarchy. You know, of course there were exceptions in America, but at the 51% level, at the macro level, all we cared about was art, and we made the best of it in the world, without exception, right? Every country in the world wanted to see Spider-Man: No Way Home, right? And that thing was like, trust and believe, the movie theater, the movie industry did not die, right? All we cared about was art, and we were just making art, and that is art. That's the new American steel. We don't create anything tangible anymore of significance. We create intangibles, and we were creating intangibles, and the world loved it, right? So February 22nd, all we cared about was art, because we lived on Maslow's pinnacle. We could worry about art. February 23rd, Vladimir Putin goes, y'all's on notice. The pinnacle is no longer existent. You are starting your fall today, right? And we're already there. We're in Maslow's valley. What are our concerns right now? You know what's at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy? Food and shelter, right? So what food and shelter concerns do Americans have? Well, first of all, it's shelter and food. Shelter, we were like, is my house going to be here tomorrow, or will it blow away as ash in a wind that does not contain a single molecule of oxygen? All right, that was our shelter concern. Our food concern was, hey, I think I've been able to settle down and not have that shelter concern for 5 seconds. Can I buy oats? Is dog food looking in their pantry and going, is dog food edible? Do I need to save that? Do I not? Maybe the dog eats the dry food now, right? Those very real food concerns, right? Because we don't know what's coming next, right? And so Vladimir Putin has, just massively impacted America and saying, you no longer live at Maslow's pinnacle, you live at Maslow's valley. I have taken Maslow's pinnacle from you, and all your art concerns can just get dusted away. And you remember your prepper buddy? He looks like a sage now, doesn't he? Right? Vladimir Putin's like, you laughed at your prepper buddy before, now you're asking him questions. Yeah. All right? So that's where we are. That's where we are, okay? Incredibly dark American present. Okay. All right. So what do we do? And by the way, everything I'm saying here, this is all American specific. I am American, and unfortunately, I have never left this nation ever once. All of my family have. They've all, traveled abroad. My father was very very frugal, right? And we didn't have a lot of money, right? He just gave us everything he could, right? And Garibay just didn't have global travel money, right? So I ain't never been out of this country, right? I'm an American through and through, right? And so I can't speak I can't speak to non-American concerns. I'm just talking about American concerns here. All right. So I just want to make that clear. So what do we? And I'm just talking to Americans. Okay. So what did we do? So we live in this incredibly dark present and our world was transformed literally in 24 hours. Right. On February 22nd, 2002, we were looking for a second slice of avocado toast, and now, we're looking at the cost of barley and seeds. It just transformed our world, right? We have these very real food concerns and shelter concerns, right? And everything we had before looks like foolishness now, right? Like, I'm a sneaker fan, right? I'm like, Nike Reacts and Nike Frenzies, and it's just all melted away. It doesn't matter, right? It seems like such foolishness, and the world has been shattered by Vladimir Putin, right? So what do we do, right? We're in this incredibly dark present, right? Is there a golden path to a bright American future? There is. I got good news for you. There is. What is it? All right. First of all, we got to step back and realize what is our problem. Our problem is Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is an American problem, right? It's absolutely a Ukrainian problem, but if you don't think he's an American problem, you ain't paying attention. He is an American problem, right? And the reason why is he's like, hey, I know it's 2022, America, but I'm putting you on notice that it's 1952. And things you ain't worried about since 1952, you better worry about right now, right? So Vladimir Putin is an American problem, right? So, one, recognize the problem. The problem is Vladimir Putin. I'm convinced of that, okay? Two, what do we do about it, right? Well, the first thing we do is we realize that it is our problem to solve, each and every one of us as Americans, right? So what do we do first? Well, the first thing we do is we look to our American citizenship. We are incredibly blessed to be American citizens, right? And because of that, we can say, okay, what do I do as an American to make sure that Vladimir Putin does not steal one more thing from me and other Americans? And the first thing you do is you forge in iron your will to be the best American citizen you can be, right? Right now, determine everybody who's going to run for president in 2024. Start paying attention. Your voting has never, ever been more important, right? Joe Biden is almost... When we reach 2024, Joe Biden will be 83 years old. God willing, right? This is not a job for... I think it would be cruel to put the weight of this world on those 83-year-old shoulders. I feel bad that we're doing it now, right? I think we need to give him space. He didn't even want the job. He said that flat out, right? He said he didn't even want to do it, right? He came back, right? And the reality is, I think he's done the best. I think he's tried to do the best he could, right? But to put this weight on him for another 4 years would be just cruel, right? And also, expecting an 87-year-old person to lead in the middle of all this, it's just, I don't know how I can explain anymore that's probably not a good idea, right? Second, each and every one of you, when you walk out your door tomorrow, when you see that person across from you, that is the person you need to unify. That is an American you need to unify with. Every division has to melt away, right? We have an external threat, the likes we have not seen in 70 years, right? And that should be the folk. There can be no more division among Americans. We don't have time for it. We don't have time for any of the old nonsense divisions we had. Right? We have an external threat that we must be unified as American citizens against. That's what's important right now. You are an American citizen. I'm speaking to American citizens. If you're not an American citizen, that's all I am. That's all I can speak to, right? There are other people that might be able to speak to other concerns, but that's what I'm speaking to now. If you're an American citizen, your American citizenship has to be forged in red, white, and blue iron. It has to be fortified, solidified, valued, and perfected. And every American citizen to your right and to your left, and you know what? I'm going to say it now. Every person in this nation, if you are an American, we as Americans, I'm not even going to attach a citizenship to this. If you live in this country, we need unification. We need to see the external threat and realize that our divisions must melt away. That's my opinion. What's your opinion? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.